Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of Chessosophy, the series that aims to teach you the philosophy behind chess improvement. Previously, we talked about the importance of pattern recognition in the game of chess. Now, we are ready to segue into our second concept. Pattern recognition is fallible. Let's get right into it. These puzzles will be a little bit more difficult as they are now mate in twos. Here's the first one. White to move, mate in two. Pause now if you need to. Okay, so if you said pawn promotes to a queen, then you got the first move correct. This check covers this square as well as this square, meaning the king only has this square to go to. The king moves over there, and while being supported by the king, the queen checkmates to the king in g7, kiss of death. Good job if you got pawn promotes to queen. Same thing, white to move, mate in two. Okay, if you got pawn promotes to queen, you got the first move correct. This queen cuts off these squares from the king. This queen cuts off these squares from the king. And this king cuts off the d5 square for the black king, meaning the only square it can go to is b5. And once in b5, considering all of the squares being cut off, we can find that the solution is queen to c5 checkmate, as not only do these squares get covered, but also this square and this square by the new queen, as well as the square that the king is sitting in, meaning it will be checkmate. Okay, on to the last one. White to move, mate in two. Pause now if you need to. Now, in this puzzle, if you said f8 equals queen, then it proves our title. Pattern recognition is fallible. Promoting to a queen in this position results in a stalemate because the queen is so powerful, it cuts off the king entirely, as you can see here, from any safe square, and it is not in check. But that is actually a hint as to what the actual solution is. Pawn promotes to rook. Since the rook lacks the ability to slice diagonally, it cuts off these squares. Everything else is also cut off, but it leaves the d6 square free for the king to go to. And if you look at the available squares now, you can see that while the rook can't slice diagonally, it can cut horizontally, meaning rook to f6 will result in checkmate. Noticing patterns will undoubtedly help our chess game, but we should not trust them to the point where we start to move automatically and start losing our objectivity. That wraps the second concept of the series. Pattern recognition is fallible.